friends, and welcome to Finance Working Mama. If you are here to try to figure out how to reel in expenses, then you've come to the right place. I've started this channel to support a group of friends to get back focus on their financial goals. I worked with them a number of years ago, and they have done really great with themselves and used the tools and the tips and changed the behaviors to accomplish what they wanted, and that was to control their expenses. That was a number of years ago, and they encouraged me to start this channel to help and support them since we're no longer all together. A lot of them have moved out of the area. So I hope this is encouraging for you as well. I hope I can provide some tips, some ideas, encouragement, and your goals on accomplishing financial security for you and your family, because that's what it's about. We work hard to support the family that we love, and we want a little bit left over at the end of the month. I mentioned in my first video that I was going to do a January challenge and to help sort of reel back in my expenses. And my challenge for January is to only spend $400 on grocery items. And many might say, well, that's not so bad. It's $100 a week. Well, I pack a lot into that grocery dollar, actually, grocery amount. It's food for the family, which is family 4. I have obviously me and my husband, and then Amelia, who is 6, and Ava, who is 10. It's food for us. It's food for our dogs. I have 2 very large dogs and 1 little teeny dog. And of course I have 2 fishes as well. And, personal items, lotions, shampoos, toothpaste, all that jazz, as well as home products, to support the household. That's cleaning products, laundry products, air fresheners, batteries, anything of that nature. Basically, if you can buy it in a grocery store, not a super Walmart, but an actual grocery store, it's in that number. So that is what I'm going to try to accomplish. You got to practice what you preach, right? So let's see if I can maintain that. But before I go in on how I did that, I want to go into how to start, how to even begin the process of reeling in your expenses. And I say just keep it simple. There's lots of apps, free apps. There's lots of things that you can find online that can help you build a budget. And I would encourage you to Google them. I mean, I just did a quick Google, and they have some really great free things out there. But they can be overwhelming. Like when I look for it, I'm a banker and I love spreadsheets more than anyone. But the things that they have over there can be a little overwhelming. First, if you've never really planned a budget. So let's just keep it really simple. You know what you make on a monthly basis. You know what that dollar is. So write that dollar down. Then on the left-hand side of the paper, write down all of your obligations. And those obligations consist of your rent, your utilities, your cell phone, your car payments, your insurance. And I'm hoping that on the obligation side, you have savings, because you've got to pay yourself, whether it's just like $10, $25, $50, you've got to pay yourself each month. You've got to. I'm hoping that's part of your obligations, is that you're putting a little bit into savings. And if you're not, because you're like, I don't have enough money, well, hopefully we can find some in this little process I'm going to explain. Write down all your obligations. Now, streaming services is not an obligation. You can cut that out. So I think that's sort of part of your spending budget. Just the things that you have to pay. And credit cards are a part of that, because if you don't pay it, you'll get bad credit. And we don't want that to happen. So write all your obligations down. Get that total. Subtract that total from the monthly income that you have to spend for the month. Whatever is left over is what you have for your expenses. So how do you figure out where all of that money and expense dollars go? For 7 days, I want you guys to write down everything that you spend your money on in 7 days. That's the gas you put in your car. That's the activities for your children. That is any groceries that you buy, any food that you buy that's fast food or at a sit-down restaurant, anything. Write it down. Write what it was and how much it was. at the end of 7 days, then add all of that up. Take that dollar amount, times it by 4, because there's typically 4 weeks in a month. And that gives you a baseline number of typically what your behaviors give you of spending on a monthly basis. Take that and subtract it to what you have left for your expenses. Are you in a positive or are you in a negative? Most people would say, if you're listening to this channel because you're trying to figure out how to save, change behaviors, that might be a negative or not much left at all at the end of the month. And who wants to live paycheck to paycheck? That's stressful. You want to be able to put money aside for Christmas. You want to put money aside for maybe a vacation. So how do we change that? Well, you've written down everything that you spent in 7 days. Look at that list and be honest. Circle the things that you could potentially really not spend your money on. Is it the coffee at the coffee shop? I can tell you, I'm guilty showing up and to the coffee shop 4 days a week buying coffee. Is it not buying your lunch? Guilty. I go out and get lunch because I forgot to prepare it before I left the house. Is it the amount of time that you've been allocating to going out to eat at a sit-down restaurant? Are you doing that 1 day a week or 3 days a week? What is it? Circle all of that. Circle all the things that you can cut out. Realistically, you're still going to need groceries, but maybe you can work on how much you spend on groceries. But circle the things that you can eliminate and start with one of the things that you circled. Like I said, start with a behavior, one small behavior. Let's say it's, I'm going to focus on eliminating the amount of times I go to the coffee shop. If I go 4 days a week, maybe I'm just going to cut down to 1 day a week. Because, everyone deserves a coffee, maybe on hump day or even on Friday, to celebrate that it's Friday, or to celebrate the fact that it's hump day and you just need a little extra something. Cut out the times that you go to the gas station to pick up a soda or tea or anything of that nature. Maybe start there first. Once you got comfortable with that change, then let's go to a different change. Let's go to the amount of times you can eat out. If I were you, I would probably start with the amount of lunches and food places that I go out to eat, because those are really expensive. Coffees, drinks. Just eliminate that. Not eliminate it, but cut it back. Instead of going out to lunch 3 days a week, maybe cut it down to 1 day a week. It'd be great if you cut it down to 0 days a week, but at the end, sometimes you're just not going to be well prepared. So start with that. I would encourage you to do that in the next 7 days and really be honest with yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, that's probably the hardest thing ever, is just to be completely honest with yourself. But I promise, if you go through this activity, it's an eye-waking activity. And if you truly write down everything that you're spending, you realize really quick that, you know what? I could change this, and this, and really at the end of the month have a significant changing. This small activity is not rocket science by no means. However, it's an activity that is simplistic enough that if you're honest and you're willing to take the jump and reeling things back in, then it's an easy process that anyone can do. But it's definitely eye-waking. So, what I encourage you, do it for 7 days. See, are you surprised? Let me know if you're surprised with your findings. Let me know if there's something that jumped out of you that you were like, really? Am I spending that much money on that? Love to know it. Let me know, am I going to accomplish the $400 for the month of January? So, I will start by saying, none of which I am going to tell you is something that I created new. This is what people have been doing forever. But you know, a lot of us just don't do it because, one, we just don't plan. That can be painful, and who wants to do that? But in order to make this process successful, you have to plan. So I am planning for 7 days. That's January 1 to January 7th. That's Monday through Sunday. I'm going to plan 6 meals. And in those 6 meals, I is going to deem some leftovers for lunches and maybe from additional meals. And many are saying, well, only 6 meals or 7 days a week. Well, everybody knows that you're always going to have leftovers. And I want to be able to use the food that's currently already in the refrigerator. And there's still quite a few stuff from Christmas. So I want to use that up. So I plan 6 meals. I will say that I have a pretty stocked freezer. It's like a prepper freezer. There is a ton of meat in that freezer and frozen veggies because if I catch it on sale, I'm going to buy it. Pantry, it's decent. I wouldn't say by any means it's a prepper pantry, but I would say it's a cook pantry. I'm a big cook. I love to cook. So I have a lot of ingredients, a lot of different pastas, a lot of different canned goods, dried goods. So I'm pretty stocked up because I made a lot of changes in 2023 where I was going to restock those, the pantry and the freezer because I had moved away from that. And once I got that pretty stocked up, then I would just be buying things that were on sale. The things that I know we're going to eat, I would only buy them when they're on sale and then keep things stocked up. So that's essentially what I'm doing, is working out of my pantry and working out of my freezer to prepare the meals that I have in place. So what do I have written down for the next 7 days? Okay, y'all. So this is what I did. You can see my weekly menu, January 1 through January 7th. I have a ham and potato type of like casserole, but it's sort of like scalloped potatoes. I have chicken Alfredo with salad, a shepherd's pie, steak quesadillas, chicken fried rice. Then I have marked for leftovers, and then I have steak and potatoes. And on the other side, I have my grocery list of all the things that I need to get to make this happen. And you might see like little stars or dots on the right-hand side of the item. Those are the items that I typically buy every single week. My children and our family eat a lot of fresh vegetables and fruit. So fruit, veggies, and milk and bread are typically always on the grocery list. And I always try to add in 1 or 2 pantry restocked items in my grocery haul. And, you see at the bottom there, underneath the line, coffee pods and Oreo cakesters. Those were not needed. They were a want. But I had allocated for the first week of January to only spend $50. The only amount that I spent for the first week of January was $45.10. So again, I bought the things we had to have for the week and the few things that I needed to have to make the list of food that I'd mentioned, and a few wants. Not needs, but wants. And that all ended up to be $45.10. So I mentioned the ham and potatoes. I had all of those ingredients in the pantry. So I made that on a Monday. That was a little of a tedious process, which I would typically do that on Saturday or Sunday because if it takes more than 30 minutes, I need to prepare that type of item on the weekends where I have time. But we were off on Monday, so that turned out to be a great dish. I had all the ingredients. I spiced it up a little bit. It wasn't just the milk. I did some cream of celery and milk cream to give it a little bit more flavor. And that lasted a number of meals. We actually had 2 different dinners from it, and we had breakfast. My husband had breakfast with it. I had lunch with it. So that really went a long ways. And I will include a picture of that. As you can see, it's delicious. This is before it was baked. I did add a little bit of Parmesan cheese in there on top to make it look crispy and good. But that lasted us a good number of meals. So that was a great choice in items. Chicken Alfredo, I had that frozen in the freezer. It was something that was left over from a prior meal that I had at the beginning of December, and I thought this would be great with my hip surgery. We pull it out, defrost it, and reheat it. And that actually, it was more than I thought. The container was bigger than I thought it was. It actually was like 2 meals and several lunches. Yeah, it provided a lot of meals than I thought it was going to. So that was really a good item as well to have during the week. Then steak quesadillas and the chicken fried rice. We never got to that because I didn't even make it. I didn't even pull out the ingredients out of the refrigerator or freezer to make it because we had so much leftovers from the chicken Alfredo and the ham potato, sort of like scalloped potato casserole. And the shepherd's pie, that is the one meal that I did cook during the week. And I will share that recipe at the bottom of this. Ladies and gentlemen, it took me probably, and mind you, I was by myself in the kitchen and I had crutches. So it took me about 25 minutes to do everything. It would have taken me less if I had both hands and both legs moving in the kitchen. It would probably take me less than 20 minutes to do all the preparation. And then it's about 20 minutes in the oven. So if I had this all over again, I probably would have done it. This is a good one to do on the weekends, maybe a Sunday, because it was really quick to put together, and leave it in the refrigerator and then pull it out and put it in the oven during the week because it was ready. It will be ready in the oven less than 25 minutes. My family loved this recipe. Again, it was under preparation. It would be under 20 to 15 minutes if I had all my appendages working appropriately. The only thing I did differently is I didn't have frozen corn, so I used canned corn. I didn't have frozen carrots, so I used raw carrot. And what will make it under 20 to 15 minutes in preparation is I used instant mashed potatoes because one, I wasn't going to do fresh mashed potatoes because that was going to take too long. And second, I had a box open and my family didn't care whether it's real mashed potatoes or instant mashed potatoes. They gobbled it up. That produced, 2 meals and a couple lunches. That produced a lot of food. And the last is steak. Of course, the family loves steak. It was the weekend, so we treated ourselves and we had steak. We didn't have the potatoes. I actually had Mexican rice that I made for the following week. It was a lot, so we had that with our dinner and it came out delicious. So I planned for 6 meals and we only ate 4 of the 6 I planned, and we still had plenty of leftovers to go into the next week. So we did not eat out. The only time that actually I brought all my lunches into work that week, one, because I sort of have to because I'm on crutches. My children bring all their lunches from home. I think my husband ate out a couple times during the week, but we have expense accounts through our company to deal with that. So, he usually comes home to eat lunch, and he didn't have that opportunity this week as he has in the past, which seemed why we had probably more leftovers than usual. So, we had plenty of food, and we got it all at $45.10 in my stock in the pantry and in the freezer. So, because I planned all of that, I think I planned all of this on Saturday on what we were going to eat, did our groceries. I did the grocery Walmart pickup because one, I can't go to the grocery store. It's too hard. And that's a great deal. They have the best app. Go on, do their app, you pull in, they throw it in your car, you're good to go. So I did that so you can see how much you're spending, which also really helps before you go and go to the grocery store. You know how much items are going to cost. And that's a great way of being able to plan for your meals for the week, is controlling the ingredients of what you're partaking in. Maybe you need to choose a different recipe to sort of tone down what you're spending in your groceries each week. So how does that change behavior? So if you're looking at your 7 days and you notice that one, you're eating lunch out a lot, well, it tells me that you're not properly planning for your week. Understand what your calendar is. When I'm planning this for the week, I'm also looking at my schedule for work. And I'm asking my husband, how many times are you planning to come home for lunch? I'm looking at if I'm going to be on the road more and I don't have access to a refrigerator or a place to heat up my food, then I need to pack a sandwich or some fresh veggies and some cottage cheese. So I look at what my calendar is, what it looks like, and I write down what I could have to bring to lunch to make it easy. So if I know, Monday, I'm going to be in the office for the majority of the day, I will have access to a microwave. Then whatever I make on Monday, that night, I'm just going to bundle that up in a container and have it ready for me in the morning. So you just have to think about and it doesn't take that much more time to think about. To think about what you need to do and have it prepared the night before, because that's where it builds success. A lot of times I will pack my lunch while I'm packing my daughter's lunch. They both eat veggies and fruits and usually a protein that you carry with them for school. As I'm preparing their lunch so it'd be nice and fresh for them during lunchtime, I'm preparing my lunch. That takes me no less than 1 or 2 more minutes. So it's just planning, and it's not rocket science. Like I said, these ideas are not rocket science. They just take a moment and time and a little structure to get where you want to go. I promise you guys, if you cook from home and you utilize the grocery store and buy less convenience items, it's amazing the dollars that you save. Because even buying a pizza and picking it up, that's almost $20. Even buying a lasagna frozen at the grocery store is going to cost you more than if you make it yourself. And many of you say, I have no idea how to start. How to cook. Well, hopefully over the course of this challenge or this channel, I will provide you some advice on that. I always say, if it's going to take me more than 15 minutes to get the dinner prepared, the ingredients, chop it and cook it, then I can't do it. 15-20 minutes to cook and maybe another 10 or 20 minutes depending to let it simmer and finish. That's the time frame. If it's more than that, it doesn't get put on the weekly menu. That was what my week was. Now, $400, I've only spent $45.10. So you're saying, well, that's pretty good, I suppose. Yes, it is. So, but I still have really 4 more weeks, because if you look at the calendar, I think the 31st of January ends on a Wednesday. So you might as well just count, there's 5 weeks in January at that point. So we'll see if I make it happen. One of my friends asked me, she wanted to see how I had my refrigerator set up, because she said that she was just struggling with her kids to be able to find things in the refrigerator, and it gets so disorganized and then things spoil because they didn't see them. So this is how I have attempted to try to prevent that, and so far it has worked quite well. We were blessed to be able to get this new refrigerator this year, or actually 2023, and it has helped significantly, and I really like it because of the different bins, which helps organize the house a bit when it comes to eating. This bin is for all the produce that's in waiting to be used. And this bin on the top is the produce that's in process of being used, meaning that it's already been cut into, it's been washed, it's ready to be served and eaten. And then over here, we have the fruit bin where all the fruit hangs out. And then, of course, this bin is all the meat and cheeses that's available. I do try to put the cheese in order of expiration date so they can just grab and go, and again try to prevent any waste. This middle section here where you see the bread. Any bread that comes out of the freezer goes right over there. Any produce that is ready to be made for meals and didn't quite was able to fit at this bottom bin goes right there. And then right here is the big one. This is where all of the food, the leftovers go, the meals that are being prepared for dinner during the week. And so my family knows to go to that section of the refrigerator and look through the containers to find what they would like to eat. Of course, the top shelf is where the cottage cheese, the cream cheese, the sour cream, the Greek yogurt, all of that is held. And then, of course, eggs up there at the top, and then milk, drinks are right there on the right-hand side. And in the middle is some additional condiments that didn't quite fit in the doors, because we have a good number of condiments and pickles and relishes because, you know, I love to cook, so I have lots of things to use. So there we go, friends. That is how I organize my refrigerator, and I go throughout the week and keep it straight so that way we're not wasting food. Food gets eaten. We see what we have available, and again, no waste. I try to set everything up to where everyone can see it, can find it very easily. I also, again, try to prepare as much as I possibly can during the weekend, and I try not to spend like hours in the kitchen, because who wants to do that? And I enjoy cooking, but at the end of the day, we want to do other things on our days off. So I try to limit my time in the kitchen to an hour of preparing for the week ahead. So the shepherd's pie that I have, it called for the ingredients. I look at the ingredients list. I knew that I did not have frozen carrots. So I went in, I cleaned the carrot, I diced the carrot, had that all waiting. I knew that I needed onions, and got everything that I needed, have it all prepared and ready to go. Cleaning the vegetables, I do that. Have it ready to go in the bins, ready to serve. We have a lot of salads, so to make it easy, I cut up the salad, I throw it in a gallon size bag, and I throw it in the refrigerator. So all we have to do is just pull it up and shake it, pull out what we want, and get our salad dressing, and there we go. We have it for lunch, we can have it for dinner. It's there for whoever wants to eat it, and when it's prepared, people eat it. Also, this week I made a very large sub sandwich. I ordered an Italian or French bread from Walmart bakery, and I cut it open, put in the deli meat, cut it in half. I put it in a gallon size bag. I put the tomatoes and lettuce and onions in separate containers. And so during the week, all you have to do, pull that out, cut the portion you want, add the condiments, stick it in a bag, and there off you go. Makes it very simple. I find setting the stage during the weekend to prepare for the week, it's a lot easier and a lot attainable to eat the food that you bring into your house instead of running to a fast food place or running to a restaurant, because you know it's already there. It's ready. You just pull it out, heat it up. And that's pretty much what it is during the week with our family, because I don't know about your children, but when they hit the door at 5 o'clock, they want to eat. That's how I get it done in my household. I try to plan on the week. I try to keep it to an hour in the kitchen in that preparation for the week. Any recipe that I cook Monday through Friday, I'm going to keep it to less than 30 minutes. And so during the course of January, I will share some of the recipes that I do, that I make for my family, and that are good. If they're not good, I'll just say it was a dud, and I won't share it. I will share with you the shepherd's pie, because that was really delicious. All right, friends, I hope sharing a little bit of how I'm trying to accomplish my challenge for January has provided you some inspiration of maybe changing some behaviors, doing things a little bit more differently than you typically do. And I do encourage you to use that, the process I mentioned. It's really simplistic, and it will be hard. It's simple, but hard, because you have to be honest with yourself. Uh, and know that whatever you spend, you got to write down. And then at the end of that 7 days, facing that and what that might look like, let me know how it goes. I would love to know. And if you have any ideas, any saving ideas, any tips that you do during the week to help get your week going, get yourself organized, to help your family function in a way that they're not running out and spending money, let us know. We'd love to hear it. Thanks, y'all, and thanks for joining us. I look forward to learning more about you guys, and hoping to provide you some more value.